Hey, what's happening? I know it looks like the same old with me, except that it's an incredibly beautiful day. CAVU, man. I'm looking all around for clouds. I don't see any anywhere, and we've had a lot of bad weather, so it's absolutely beautiful. Let me show you. Now, I'm going to point the camera up towards the blue sky here, and there you should be able to see 3 contrails of jets flying south in the sky. I hope you can see them. They're like 3 white lines, and those airplanes are going over 500 miles an hour, which is a marvel. It's just, all you have to do is go back 100 years, and it's 1923, and we haven't gotten across the Atlantic Ocean nonstop yet. Okay, and there are a lot of pilots being killed, but man, the attraction and the allure of flying is just too much for a lot of people to resist, including me. And I gotta tell you, man, I came within a hair, within a breath of killing myself in an airplane, me and another person. I was trying to land a regular job, aerial photography. This guy had a business. He would pay a pilot to go up and shoot a bunch of targets in a Cessna 152, and then you give the film to him, he gets it developed and goes out and sells them. The only thing is, when you're taking the pictures, you have to follow this really bad map to know where to photograph, and you get them from the county for free, and they're just roads. It's not like what you'd consider a regular map with legends to tell you, an inch is equal a mile on the map or something like that. It wasn't anything like that. It was just really bad. And so the combination of flying, taking the pictures, and interpreting this map is way too much management for one person to do in a cockpit. Way too much. Still, I was struggling financially, and at the time, it was right before my divorce too. It was like 6 months before my divorce. This guy was interested in hiring me. I'd be traveling a lot. I mean, his business up and down the East Coast mostly, but it wouldn't keep you from going further west if there was opportunity. So, $15 an hour he was going to pay me. And my job would be to get in an airplane, go up, shoot the targets, give the film back to him. I don't pay for the film. I don't pay for anything. He pays for all the expenses, but he really knew what he was doing and trying to sell this stuff too. So yeah, we hooked up somehow, and he says, okay, we're just going to go for a test flight. You be the pilot, and I'll bring a camera, and we'll see how it goes. And so we went flying, but I wanted to fly very slow and low. Stupid, and make sure that I was in a good position to get a good picture. Well, I was too low and too slow, and the airplane stalled on me. I couldn't have been more than 700-800 feet above ground AGL max, and the thing, I had the nose trimmed up, and then I figured when the horn was beeping, I was close to stalling, but I'm not stalling. Well, you're way too close to stalling if you hear that horn beeping. And then, so when you stall, the horn stops beeping, but then you fall like a rock. Whew. And it stalled, and I recovered right away. But without pulling the nose up or anything, it stalled again. And the reason was I had the nose trimmed up. Can't do that, man. Oh, God. So 2 stalls, and we're really close to the ground. The third stall, we're dead. And my heart, there was this tightening in my chest. Like when you think you very well could die within the next 5 to 10 seconds, man, you get real tight. And but then, and I wasn't looking, at this point I'm not looking out the windshield. I knew something was wrong inside the cockpit, and I went to the trim tab, and I realized, oh shit. And so I trimmed the nose back down, and it recovered beautifully. What an incredibly safe airplane. You're gonna learn how to fly. C-152 is the way to go. Not a light sport. I'd stay away from them. C-152. These days it's gonna run you anywhere from 75 to 100 an hour, which is a lot more than what I had to pay. Maybe not that much, maybe a little bit less. You know, it could be 50, 60, 65 an hour, something like that. And that charge stops when you turn the key, when you turn the engine on. So anyway, he was scared shitless too after the second stall, and he said, "What? He said, what the f is going on?" And I said, I made some errors. I made some mistakes. It's all cleaned up now, but I was so scared that, and so was he. We both decided to call it a day. And this was up Reading. We're flying out of Reading Airport, which is an incredibly good airport. It can handle any size airplane. I'm pretty sure it's a 2-mile runway. Pretty sure. I know they have air shows, World War II air shows there every year that is phenomenal. Reading, Pennsylvania. Kind of ironic when you think about air travel displacing the railroad means of getting around. Reading was a hub for railroads in the 19th century and early 20th century. Just like a real hub. There's a Cessna 152. I love you. I love that airplane. Even though if you look at it, it looks very uncomfortable, and it is uncomfortable to get in and out of. But once you're in, you know, once you're in there and you're sitting down and you're flying, oh, what an incredible feeling. And that airplane is the safest airplane in the sky. Well, other than Boeing 757, Boeing 777, Boeing 787, just about all variations of Airbus offerings, they're probably safer than the 152, but I don't know. So you would determine that by doing accident investigations on both aircraft and only comparing those that are not pilot error. So that, you know, the two 737 MAX crashes in Indonesia and in Ethiopia, they were not pilot error, and that's one of the saddest things. It's really, well, it's not like the Comet. The Comet was the first jet airline transport platform, and de Havilland came out with it in the early 50s, and it was a terrible, terrible design. There were a number of things wrong with it, but that's a lot from being ignorant of the effects of pressurization on the airframe of an airplane that goes up to 35, 40,000 feet. The pressure variable inside and outside is a lot, you know. I mean, your airplane is pressurized, has to be at that altitude, and the the pressure outside the cabin is so much less than what's inside the cabin. Is that if there's any crack or flaw in the hull, you know, in the pressure hull, then that plane is going to crash and everybody's going to be killed. And that's exactly what happened. The two brand new de Havilland Comet airplanes back in the early 50s, 53, I think, 54, something like that. Everybody killed, and after the second crash, it was grounded, and it was discovered that they had right angle connections around the windows. In a pressurized hull, like a submarine, look at a submarine, 100% pressurized, and look at the design. It's round. I don't think there's any flat surfaces on the outside of a submarine, very few, but the overall form and the shape of the pressure hull is like cylindrical, no right angles, you know. And the de Havilland, the Comet, yeah, the pressurization, the pressure difference between outside and inside killed everybody on those two crashes. It never came back from that because that was the first one. The 737 has been around for decades and decades, so those disasters in Ethiopia and Indonesia were not the first ones. And would I fly on a 737 MAX? Absolutely. I have no problem at all doing that. None at all. The tragic aspect of that whole thing really was the second crash. The first one was horrible. I went in Indonesia, Lion Air, where on a nice day like today, CAVU, look at this. I mean, this is what the weather was like in the first 737 MAX crash. No weather factors involved in the accident. That's a huge red flag. And right then and there, the CEO of Boeing should have said, Ground every max. We got to find out what's going on. And he didn't. So then the second crash in Ethiopia happened, and another 150 people were killed. And the CEO of Boeing still didn't ground the airplane. He says, "Oh, we don't know what caused these crashes." Okay. You ground the airplane. Prudent caution. Prudent precautionary move there, pal. Mr. CEO. Completely out of touch with reality. So anyway, yeah, I almost killed me and this aerial photography owner. And that was June of 1992. What, June? Little did I know, 7 years later, June 13th of 99 would be worse on another level. That's the Cessna again. There's definitely some training going on there. Somebody's taking flying lessons. Wow, it is bright today. Yeah, I wonder sometimes. I wonder about how blessed I am. That is a low-wing fixed gear, and that guy flies practically every day. I'm very familiar with that aircraft. I just see what kind of airplane it is. I don't think it's a Piper. I think it's something else. As a photographer, well, my career was fascinating as a photographer. I chased ambulances for a while. Got some amazing fire accident work done and published. Anytime I went out to a fire or an accident, almost every time, I would end up getting published. You don't make any money. Freelance, publish. So you gotta look for it, man. You can't wait for it to come to you. It never works. And I got some amazing working clients as a photographer. Money was tight, for sure. That would change. I think about my career with a lot of sentiment and affection. Both of my careers. My career as a photographer, which overlapped my career as an account executive at Bell. I'm lucky enough and I'm blessed enough to be able to say my college degree actually paid off for me, because in communication skills, especially written communication skills, and talking to over the phone, you know, for 5 years, I had a 13-year career at Bell, and for 5 of those 13 years, I was an account manager / executive. And it was only business accounts, no residential, no private accounts, just business. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. Because people like talking about their business. You call somebody up and you get the business owner, they like talking about their business. Oh, you want to know about my business and me? Yeah, I want to know about your business and you. How did you get this business together and have it last for as long as it has? You know, like a lot of the clients that I talked to, they've been in business for like 6, 7, 8 years. That's beating the odds. you know, that's beating the odds. So anyway, nostalgic. You know, when it comes to my career, it's nostalgic. When it comes to my personal life, there's not a whole lot of success that I can talk about there. CAVU. If you truly do have a career, it becomes your identity. It really becomes the image or the part of you that is strongest. I didn't mess up. I've just had bad judgment and character and who I hook up with. I'm sure a lot of people can say that. You hook up with somebody, you don't find out until later. Sometimes it could be years later. That's an extremely incompatible arrangement. Extremely. Who's this guy? I don't see any jets taxiing, so maybe we'll get one video of somebody doing pattern work. We'll see. Oh, the video I did the other day, 2 days ago, about unsafe practices at this airport. It's over 700 views now, I'm pretty sure. One day, 700 views, that's unusual for me. I mean, looking at this, I'm trying to understand why so many people are interested in it, and then I realized there was a very close call between two airplanes on the runway. One had just landed and was still on the runway, and there was a guy like real close behind him floating down the runway, and it was almost a collision. So there was a guy on the runway. These are small, you know, they could have been Cessna 152, 172s. One lands, and I was talking about overshooting the runway on base to final. And both these airplanes did that. So they were crabbing back over to the runway, but they missed that axis. When you go base to final, when you straighten up your wings, you go level, you should be center line on the runway. If you're past center line, it's a very dangerous place to be. So, one guy comes in and he overshoots the runway, he gets back down. I said, and plus he's a little bit hot. Well, no, the first guy touches down, and the guy comes in behind him a little hot. So the first guy's still on the runway, the guy's coming in behind him, and he starts floating to where this other guy is on the runway. So the guy in front turns off. He probably didn't even know there was somebody coming in behind him. He turns off, and the guy floats by him. It was a near miss. And a word got around about it, apparently. And I'm sure some people that work at the airport here saw it. I know Cody and friends over at Ramp Master saw it, I'm pretty sure. It's only a minute and a half. But in one day I went over 700 views. Not bad. That's kind of like an axiom of journalism photography. Take a lot of pictures. Be ready to take a lot of pictures. Be ready for things that can happen. Break, wear out, stop working, that can keep you from getting the picture or the shot that you want. And you have a backup. A true professional photographer always has 3 cameras with him, always. And I've been on weddings where the first 2 systems broke down on me, and I was down to the last and third system to finish the job. That's very uncomfortable. the days of film photography being over is good news for photography and photographers. Goodbye, Kodak. Whores. Goodbye, Fuji, too. They're gone. Goodbye, Polaroid. You know, it's just amazing to see how many huge industries were just kind of like being slothful and indifferent to their customers. That's the 152. Anyway, good latte from Wawa this morning. I'm going to Wawa more than Dunkin' Donuts now because Wawa's more consistent with quality. Dunkin' Donuts, you know, they gotta slop it together and get it out to you as quickly as possible because you're in the drive-through. But they're not as consistent in the quality as Wawa is. So, say la vie. I'm amazed that I'm here, and all the people that I've seen pass away, people that are my age or younger, pass away. It's kind of disturbing. Cancer, a number of women that I've known pass away with cancer, breast cancer being the most prevalent. And a close second is uterine cancer. But uterine cancer in a woman, cervical cancer in a woman, specifically cervical cancer, is only caused by her having sex with a partner that has multiple other partners and has the HPV virus. If a woman has sex with a guy like that, there's a very good chance she's going to have cervical cancer. And if she gets cervical cancer, that's the reason. They know that. Anyway, just food for thought. I worry about my daughter and my granddaughter in that respect. My daughter has just told me flat out she's not going to get a hysterectomy or anything. She's just not going to do it. So, it saddens me. There's nothing I can do. See, when you're emotional like me, being sad about something that you can't do anything about is not a pleasant way to be. Because I can't do anything about it. So I gotta move forward and live my life. But my children and my grandchildren are part of my life. And I'm staying in touch on a friendly basis with their mother, you know, my ex-wife. That seems to have smoothed out, but we're not going to live together. You know, I don't see that happening, although she wants to. I can't imagine what she's thinking, to tell you the truth. Although she's not thinking. I think she's just. She's a little younger than me, but she's alone. She's living alone. When you get into our age bracket, there's not a whole lot of. I tell my children this all the time. They don't even want to hear it anymore. I tell them anyway. You know, as you age, as you get older, your options reduce. Your options get less and less of just about anything. It's just a fact of life, you know. I'm telling my kids about the facts of life since they were 8 years old, and that's when a child should be told about the facts of life, when they're 8. They're not a child anymore at 8. They're starting to understand what's dangerous. Speeding cars on the road, a hot surface on a stove, a fan with the blades spinning, and you know you could touch it with your finger, you can lose your finger that way. And so those are the things that a child in 3rd grade starts to comprehend, and they start. I know men can get excited starting in 3rd grade, or even a little earlier. And you really don't know what's going on. You got this thing hanging between your legs, and suddenly it's taking over your life. Anyway, peace, y'all. And it's a CAVU day, man. Wow.
And I know I've said this before, but this 100-acre parcel of land is just, you know, to take it all in, you got to turn your head 360 degrees. I just, well, anyway. I was thinking of getting a dirt bike and go out looking for places to ride in the summertime, you know, on the dirt. This place would be perfect. Perfecto mundo.
Take the dog. I'm gonna take the dog for a walk. Harvey, you want to say hi to your fans? Where is it? Harvey, hey. Want to say hi to your fans? You ready? You ready to go? He's ready. Peace, y'all. Have a great day. I hope you enjoy some of this CAVU weather.